Hello, everybody. This is our Astro energy forecast for the upcoming week. If you haven't joined me here before, my name is Camille Craft. I'm the owner and creator of Vital Mystic, and I do these every week. So these are going to be about, hi, Melanie. These are going to be about 30 minutes long, and we just talk about the astrology, how to best prepare for it, and what rituals to focus on throughout your week. So if you can't listen to the whole thing, we do post it up on YouTube as well as on Instagram on the profile, on the feed. So you can always come back to it throughout the week if you need to. So this week is a lot of powerful energy, but we are gearing up for an incredibly detoxifying full moon. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that because it's actually in about 6 days from now. But when we ramp into a full moon, and especially with all of the different energy that's been happening, we are in the middle of Taurus season. We have just started to kind of come out of all those tendrils of eclipse, all the different things that have happened. And now it's kind of like we're just finding our feet on the ground, right? We're like, okay, cool. Thanks for all the breakthroughs and realizations and all of those things. And maybe you're still getting those. But ultimately, right now, as we get our feet on the ground in Taurus season, we're starting to kind of take those necessary steps. Seeing you a fresh presser. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, so this week, as we're gearing up, this is I mean, you guys will always hear me say this. Scorpio does not fuck around. Like I have eighth house placements, it really is. And when we're gearing up for this full moon, it's going to bring some light, some stuff to the surface, right? That's what Scorpio does. It like pulls all the murky stuff out so that we can detox, right? And that's what I want us to start thinking. What are the things that I need to detox from? What are the things that, hello, what are the things that I just need a break from, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I have been feeling extra tired this week. And I'm also in a fourth house transit. But when my body is saying, hey, you need to rest, it's not necessarily the time for me to go full speed ahead, right? It's the time for me to say, okay, cool, thanks so much. Thanks for communicating with me. How can I nurture and nourish and just take, when I do take those steps, how can I just make sure that that step is solid, right? And that's what Taurus really teaches us. Taurus isn't that type of energy that is like, let's do all the things, right? It's actually, let's get down into our roots. Let's get so deep into our roots that we know how we are going to move, right? For maybe the rest of the year, maybe for the next, 12 months, whatever it is. Let's get so deep in our roots that we kind of grow down in order to rise for the rest of the year. And that's the overall energy that I'm feeling. Okay, so other people are tired too. Let's see. Let's hopefully this thing will come back. Do, do, do. Reconnecting. We might have to restart this. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna try to, oh, but now we're back. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so with that said, other people, I've been just noticing it, and other people are also very tired. And, I think a lot of times we can guilt trip ourselves, and we're like, oh, but I should be doing all this. And it's, really, really, really root down because what is happening right now, and as that full moon comes, it's like bringing everything up to the surface, and we want to give it some time. Sometimes we have to recalibrate in order to move forward. So with that said, hopefully this is still working. Yes. Okay. So as we are right now, Monday through Wednesday, we have Moon in Virgo, Sun in Taurus, and this is a double Earth, right? So Sun is in an Earth sign, Moon is waxing in an Earth sign. What the fuck does that mean? So when we have two earth signs, it really, really is actually super powerful for money magic, any foundational piece that you want to call in, boundary work, decluttering, detoxifying, coming back into the health of your body, the vitality of who you are, right? And so I think a lot of times, even for myself, it's like, oh yeah, I want those big, expansive results. But what I don't realize is I have to recalibrate my nervous system and I have to recalibrate the way that I am moving in the world to be able to receive that, to feel safe to receive those results that I want. And so if you're feeling tired, think of it as your nervous system saying, hey, I know something is really powerful is going to come into my life, and therefore I'm recalibrating mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in the dream realm, in the waking realm, all of those things. And that's why I mean, like, we are detoxing, right? And so the other important piece to this is like a waxing moon in Virgo will kind of give us, Virgo rules the nervous system, right? Virgo represents that essence, that routine, our boundaries, the ability to stick to those things that really support our overall wealth and health and well-being. Like our true wealth is our health, right? Our true, if we have our health, if we have our vitality, there's nothing that we can't really do. And so ultimately, health can go to so many different facets and ways. And that's what Virgo really teaches us is that, in order for us to keep tending fires, to keep growing, or to even catalyze or create results that we've never had before, we have to give our nervous systems an opportunity to reset. We have to give ourselves an opportunity to detox. We have to give ourselves, and sometimes getting sick or not feeling super great or taking a rest or a respite. Right. And I also want to put this in here because this is something that I shared with my gifted community, which is most of the time, most of the things that led to my success or that next level or bump up, it actually first came as something not working out, right? Like an event that went not well, or, like a launch that did shitty or something like that, right? It's something that just didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to. And it was because it's getting me to listen into the actual pivot that needed to happen in order for me to achieve the results that I wanted. It's the same exact thing that created my 50K month, that quadrupled my income, that created or brought in different results into my life. And so sometimes we have to slow the fuck down and listen, and our bodies have to recalibrate to create that. And so that is actually the essence of what this week is about. And it's not necessarily always about those big, shiny, bright results. It's about the internal space of homecoming, of coming back to who you really are, the roots of your being. And that's what Taurus teaches us. Taurus teaches us that it's chop wood, carry water that is going to help us get to those things. And it's not always these bright and shiny fucking moments, right? It's always going to be, it's like, oh, okay, what do I actually really need to pay attention to? What are the things that are really coming up for me? What are the choices that I'm making? What did I like learn a little bit more? So that's like, it's not about shame. And I think a lot of times we carry a lot of shame around that, around why are we not there yet? What am I doing wrong? Like, why is this person there and I'm not? And so, what we want to move through, and the beautiful part of this full moon, and remember, full moons illuminate, they're always in the opposite signs. Taurus is about your self worth, Scorpio is about all the shame that stands in the way of you actually achieving the results or receiving, I don't even want to say achieve, receiving the results that are ultimately yours. Because Taurus teaches us that you are inherently worthy of whatever you desire. And Scorpio says, hey, we're going to release this bullshit that you were programmed into. So that's the access of what this particular full moon and this time that we're gearing up for. And so, like I said today, and for I think until Thursday, we will have a double earth, right? So sun and earth, moon and earth. What that means is that we want to sink our roots so deep and pull out those little tendrils of shame and just say, oh, that's really interesting. That was never mine. Thanks so much for that, and just like give yourself that time to release, give yourself to like let go of that, right? And it's okay. We all feel shame, but the shame keeps us from actually going deeper into our power. And this is what I always say to my clients is that Not once has it felt amazing and I'm totally fucking lit up right before I quantum leap. Not once. Not once. I have always felt nervous. I have felt fearful. I have felt scared. Because I'm getting to an edge that I've never gotten before. And everyone is like, oh yeah, it's all rainbows and butterflies. And it's like, I'm going to just be straight up with you. Not once has the thing that always makes me feel rainbows and butterflies come from me doing the rainbow and butterfly feeling, right? It comes from the things that I don't actually want to do. The things that I'm like, oh no, but what if it's wrong or da da da, or what it's going to happen. You know, you're moving in the right direction if you're getting triggered. That's it. That's how you know that you're moving in the right direction, which is why we need to recalibrate in order for us to receive that beautiful, expansive result. We need to tell our nervous systems that, hey, it's fucking safe for me. It's safe for me to be in this unknown space. It's safe for me to pull out these tendrils of shame, generational trauma, whatever curse breaking stuff that we're doing, because it's not just this generation. We are doing it, right? We're doing it on a multi-level, multi-dimensional level, right? So you're not just, the work that you're doing, the healing that you're doing, how you're showing up in the world, what if you're creating a soul business, that's not just for you. That was a prayer that was seeded for many, many, many generations. And it's literally being realized in this moment right now because we have the capacity and the ability to come into these spaces together and to be able to be held in that, right? So it's not small shit that we're doing. And I just want to say, if you're fucking tired, give yourself some time to rest, right? Give yourself some time to recalibrate because what's coming up right now, what is coming to the tendrils, what is coming up in that space of that beautiful full moon lifting everything up, it's saying you deserve to rise and we're going to hold you here and you don't have to fucking carry that shit anymore, especially by yourself. So that's my message for the first part of the week. I also want to say that Mercury is also conjunct Chiron today. Mercury, planet of communication, Chiron, the wounded healer. Chiron is in Aries. This is about your personal power, right? Mercury is sitting on there like, hey, what do you need to listen to about your wounds? What do we need to talk through? What do we need to communicate? How do we need to move this through in order for you to feel safe to rise into a level maybe you have never seen before, right? Maybe you've never seen a relationship like that, or a wealth like that, or a person like that, right? And sometimes we have to be the ones that go first, right? And that's scary shit. So it's really important for us to be in our communities, to be surrounded with people who share those ideals, and that can be held in that space as well. So that is why that energy is coming up. And I know I did a post last week. I think all my Virgo risings tripped out because I was like, Venus in Aries is moving through your eighth house, right? So I just put it like your shadows, your wounds, da da da. And so one person commented and they were like, can you reframe this for me? And I'm like, absolutely. Your shadows and your wounds and all of those things that all of us avoid, that's where your freedom is. So think of this next few weeks as you calibrating to a new level of freedom, right? You calibrating to a new level of freedom. And that's what that Chiron and Aries really is about. So when we come into the second part of the week, and I'm going to touch on the full moon as well that we have on Monday. We've got waxing moon in Libra. Incredible, incredible time to pour love into yourself, right? What I'm talking about is what are ways that your needs were never met as a child? What were your needs that you needed somebody else to meet you as, in a relationship or work or whatever it is? How can you meet yourself within that space? And when, we have that waxing moon in Libra, Venus ruled, and then we also have Sun in Libra, and Sun in Taurus, and that's going to be Thursday through Saturday. That's an incredible time to come back into, well, even if I don't feel loved in all these different areas, I know how to love myself. And therefore, I'm going to set the bar so fucking high, right? If I can love myself through the greatest trap, like the greatest shadows or shame that I got, then that begins to, communicate to other people how to treat you. And this is one of the biggest kind of little, people call it a hack or something, but if you feel like you keep pulling in toxic kind of experiences and you just are feeling that your energy is, just not feeling great or you're feeling extremely, extremely tired, start to love yourself, right? Start to pour into yourself, because what that's going to do is you're starting to vibrate on a different level, right? And the way that we show up and treat ourselves is directly communicating what we allow in our world, right? What we allow for other people to project on us, how we allow or dance with our worth with other things. So the way to recalibrate that is actually to start pouring into your worth. One of the biggest things that I had to do was start showing up as a person that has the results that I want. This doesn't mean I'm hustling all the time. It actually means that I know that I'm worthy of rest. I know that when I scale to a million, or whenever I have a, beautiful, whatever results that you want, tap into the feeling, right? Tap into the feeling, because that feeling is safety. That feeling is calmness. That feeling is groundedness. It's feeling so juicy and alive. That feeling is going to be your liquid gold. And I want you to tap into that feeling on Friday, by Friday, because that's also Venus Day. And for us, like I said, the universe responds to the way that you believe that you are worthy, right? We're really working on worth during Taurus season, because it's the second house. It rules self-worth, and our worth will determine what we say yes and no to. So decide what you are worthy of, right? Decide right now, okay, well, whenever I think about scaling to like my $1 million year, I'm sitting on a beach in Mexico. I'm like, cool. That's not like, I'm not hustling, right? That's not what I'm doing. And so when I know that I'm worthy of that, then I'm going to spend time learning things and making decisions that support that state of my being, right? You're worthy of rest and receiving. And there's a lot of information out there, but especially for women to be in their feminine, holy shit, as somebody who's been a high achiever all her life, whoa, life changing. We can do all the strategy, all the things, but if we're not cultivating our magic, we lost it, right? We need to take time to cultivate that magic. And sometimes the universe says, hey, slow down, right? We want to listen in. It's not that it's not working out, but that there might be a pivot that's coming for you that's really, really powerful. And this is why I said those pivots, those moments of slowing down and kind of being forced to slow down for me, or creating a different decision, that I have one pivot that I made 3 years ago that now has built $700,000 in revenue. One decision. That's what I'm saying. That's why sometimes things slow down and we're asked to really receive and tune in, because there might be a better way of going about it. This weekend as well, on Saturday, we have Mercury moving into Taurus. So we're going to go from Aries, all the ideas, all the momentum, and then we're going to ground our asses in Mercury and Taurus. So what that does is it's going to give us a clear structure and plan, instead of trying to do 5 million things at once, which I know we're all multitasking and we're great at it. We're going to slow down, and not mean slow down as you receive less, because that's not what that means. We're going to slow down so that we can listen to how we're recalibrating our wealth, how we are recalibrating our worth. Because in that moment and in that cycle, Mercury in Taurus says, hey, I'm going to reframe the way that I'm thinking, the way that I'm moving, the way that I'm communicating, so that I'm in full vibrancy and I'm in full pulse with that wealth that I'm conjuring in my life. Whether that wealth is in a relationship, a job, the way that you look at yourself, a bank account, whatever fuck you want to say. But it's like, ultimately, I have to be able to conjure that from my mind, body, and spirit. And the way that I communicate that to the universe is that I start to show up differently. I start to tell the narrative how I am not a victim, but ultimately I have the power to catalyze and overcome or transmute or move through. And this is what's going to get us into the full moon. And this is why I said this week is very detoxifying. So when we come into the moon in Scorpio, the moon will officially move into Scorpio on Saturday. We'll have Sunday, and then we'll have the actual full moon on Monday. So the full moon in Scorpio, you guys know I love transformation. I love all those things. I have an eighth house stellium, and Scorpio does not fuck around. I'm just gonna say that, right? If we're not paying attention, this is where the little Scorpio tail will be like, boop, here's some truth for you. But if we can actually listen and learn and kind of tune in to that magic, not shame ourselves because we're not, making all the things happen, but allow for ourselves to receive, we're actually going to unlock things much quicker, right? And just watch what comes up this week and what starts to come to the surface around this weekend. Watch what is happening in your world. Watch what people say to you, right? Watch ways that if you do get triggered, and just recognize that every little trigger is just a little mirror for me to understand what belief about myself is ready to be transmuted. And when we start looking at it that way, it's no longer, oh, this shit's happening to me. This stuff is showing me how powerful I am, and it's giving me the exact key that I need to release in order to receive that beautiful result that I'm calling into my life, that this pivot is bringing in. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the astrology for Monday. Monday, we have Sun conjunct Uranus and Taurus. Uranus in Taurus is all about reframing the way that we see the body, the way that we see money, the way that we see our self-worth. We've been dancing with this one for a while. When the sun makes a conjunction with something, it amplifies that energy, right? So this is like breakthrough energy, breakthrough of the way that you have danced with money, breakthrough of the way that you've danced with your body, breakthrough of the way that you invest your time, your energy, all of those narratives. I'm talking about deep, kind of really coming into that Empress energy. That energy is going to illuminate Scorpio, right? Full moon in Scorpio. When the full moon is in Scorpio, it's going to illuminate all of our shame. It's going to illuminate our program shadows. It's going to illuminate things that are standing in the way of us recognizing that true potential of who we are. Not only that, is that we also have a trine with Neptune and Saturn. So this is very karmic, right? Neptune is about dreams. Saturn is about karma, right? This is where do we stand in that line? Are we the vision, the prayer that was seeded multiple generations ago, and we're here and we're recognizing it in real time? Are our grandmothers standing behind us and just supporting us, and our future daughters are applauding us because they're going to be able to walk in a different way? So really, really start to understand that you are here. You're doing an incredible job at living here in this world right now. And right now, we are here in that beautiful moment. How are you going to set yourself free? Not only you, but how are you going to set the people who are not free before you and the people who are going to be coming, even if you don't even have children. I don't have kids, right? So it's about like, okay, as auntie, as a creator, as somebody who's moving in the world, how do I want to allow for that ripple effect? Because it's more than just us. And that's what these accesses talk about. It's about being able to transform, to create a different ripple, to create a different impact or change or reality, not just for ourselves, but for our community too, right? When you recognize somebody who is fully embodied in their worth, when they are moving through the world with confidence because they know where their power sits within them, that is a different ripple than somebody who's like out here trying to chase everything and trying to do everything, right? Come back to that seat of your Empress. Come back to that seat of your soul and allow for that energy to recalibrate you as you come into this full moon. So I'm going to leave you with a few questions, which is, what are the curses that I am breaking right now in my life? The second one is, where can I allow myself to move through shame fearlessly? Or maybe not even fearlessly, but where can I allow myself to transform shame into my power, right? Most of the things that we feel shame about are actually our superpowers, by the way. So that's something that we want to get really clear with. And then the last question I'm going to leave you is, if the version of myself who had the result that I'm going towards, that feeling of that result, what would she tell me right now? What would be the message that she would say to me, right? That version of you that already has it, what would she say to you in this moment? And I want you to tune into that, and I want you to go ahead and do a ritual Monday, call that energy in, release it, right? I literally have a release candle going right now because I felt this energy coming in, and really, really allow yourself to move through that, because this energy is very, very detoxifying. And if we can allow ourselves, the issue that happens with Scorpio is when we try to fight it, when we try to fight the feelings, when we try to fight the shame, when we bottle it down and we say, no, you don't exist, I'm going to keep going, da da da. Then the little scorpion tail will come in and be like, woo, we're going to like, truth, right? But when we actually sit down and listen and we receive, it is not only a lot easier, but you start to accelerate much faster. And this is why I always say release work really is where it's at. It really is. Like you only have to do a tiny little bit of manifestation work if we're just moving through, right? We're just getting rid of all those tendrils, getting rid of all the clutter, getting rid of all the stuff, right? Because you wouldn't be here in this life right now, in this moment right now, if you weren't powerful enough to break those curses, to transform those energies, to move through. You wouldn't. And you also, if you have a soul business or anything like that, you would have never had that desire ever. You would have never had that desire if you were not powerful enough to create it, and or if other people didn't need it out in the world, right? And that's why I always say is that I just love being an entrepreneur because it just has accelerated my personal growth as a human being like 1,000 times, 10,000 times. And it's so powerful, right? Because a lot of people don't talk about that part, and they don't talk about the part of what it's like to really put like the shadows that you move through, the beliefs that you move through, the programming that you move through. So that's my forecast for this week. Yeah, major releases for me lately. Absolutely. Just let it come up, right? We don't want to bottle it down. Let the cauldron, let's see, let's keep going. Maybe this will end soon. Okay, there we go. Let the cauldron keep going and, allow yourself to be transformed. That's the biggest thing. Allow yourself to be transformed. Let's see if we're going to reconnect. Okay. Well, we keep pausing, so I'm going to pop off of here. If you haven't already grabbed the ritual calendar planner, the pre-sale price does go up tomorrow. So if you are interested in having the 2025 roadmap for your rituals, I literally just finished it yesterday. You're going to want to go ahead and comment planner on any of my stories or posts to grab that before it goes up and we lose the $50 discount. Thank you to everybody. We had over 70 people come into that ritual planner, and I'm really, really excited to share this with you guys because ultimately that was one of the first tools I created for my community. So it will be released tomorrow. Everyone's going to get an email. I'm just putting I have to go over it one more time so I didn't make any mistakes. But yeah, if you want that, that's awesome. I will be leading some form of live masterclass as well on the Gemini new moon. So if you are interested in what I call the quantum acceleration method of really coming into your potential, your destiny, your own inner wealth, and using the keys of your birth chart to do that, you're going to want to sit in this masterclass. It's going to be May 26th. So just comment scale, and that's going to be anywhere on any of our posts. I've been posting about it. So I hope you all have an incredible and beautiful week. I'm sending you all my love, big hugs. You fucking got this. You're a powerful creator and you fucking got this. Make sure you give yourself some time to rest. And if any shame comes up, just watch the narratives that come up. Watch what's going to happen around the full moon. Remember, you don't have to buy into it. It's just, okay, cool. Thanks so much for showing me. I'm going to put this in my ritual now. Thank you. That's all we have to do and just keep releasing it. So, and it's really, really one of the I just love Scorpio stuff because it really is so powerful. If you think about what's the one thing that if I just like totally transformed that belief, that shame, whatever it is, what the one thing, if I just totally transform that, what would fully set me free? Right? What would fully set me free? If you're working on finances or something like that, what is one belief or narrative that you hold right now that if you did not hold that belief, your entire life would be different? Same thing with relationships, same thing with your power. So I want you to narrow in on that. And you're probably going to see something pop up this weekend. Either somebody's going to say something to you or you're going to have some little narrative get triggered. And then I want you to put that into your release ritual. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.